Oh my brothers, today in this video I'm going to explain a motion picture from, well, something very interesting. And today I'm going to talk about Clockwork Orange. I finally watched this film after, I've seen it like last year in lessons in school. So I eventually, watched it. And this is a 70s movie, so this is a movie made in the 70s. You could really see that with the vibrant colors somewhere, and the music. Obviously, also the kind of the ratio of the screen. At my television, it was like a square instead of like a beautiful vertical, or horizontal. My bad, sorry, mix that up there. So yeah, this movie is from the 70s, 1971, I believe. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm going to talk about the story. So alright, it's also based off a book which is really interesting, which has the same name, A Clockwork Orange. So alright, Alex, the central character, is a charismatic antisocial delinquent whose interests include classical music, especially Ludwig van Beethoven. Committing, well, sexy time and theft and ultra violence. He leads a small gang of thugs, Pete, Georgie, and Tim, whom he calls his droogs, from the Russian word which means friend or buddy. It says it in Wikipedia here. The film chronicles the horrific crime spree of this gang, his capture, and the attempt rehabilitation via an experimental physiological conditioning technique, the Ludovico technique, promoted by the Minister of the Interior. Alex narrates most of the film in Netset, a fractured adolescent slang composed of Slavic languages, especially Russian, English, Cockney rhyming slang. So, hey, there we go. Bit of information there. And yes, so the main character, Alex, is not really a sociopath, but he commits crimes. He does a lot of, 80 plus stuff with his friends, which is kind of weird. He also, does a lot of violence towards his friends and to other people, which is really interesting. This movie, I would say, there's this one scene where they try to get into a house, multiple houses actually, which kind of reminds me of Funny Games, which you also saw in school lessons, which is kind of interesting. The same technique is used, you ring at the door, you ask for something pretty normal, I guess, here in the film, Alex asked to use the telephone because his friend was in an accident. Okay, there we go. But in Funny Games, they ring the bell and try to ask for eggs, which is kind of normal. I mean, it is pretty normal. How, normal that situation is. Imagine just having someone at your door trying to ask for an egg. Especially since I watch Funny Games, I'm never going to do that. I'm going to slam the door right in front of him or her. And, in this movie, it's the same thing. Pretty obvious question, right? Eventually, some people open up the door and then boom, yeah, there we go. Violence and some things, especially to women, which is not really fun. But, Alex is not really, yeah, like I said, not really a sociopath, but he likes violence for some reason. And he also gets captured by the police eventually. There we go, because someone recognized him or something, I don't know. And, Alex is now in the, police facility, I guess, where he gets questioned. He's a really polite man, to be honest, which is kind of weird. The polite people are always, some kind of, weird maniacs or something. I don't know. Alex uses some slang, like I said, with, English and Slavic words throughout. He uses some multiple words to use in one, I don't know, maybe that's just English, I don't know, some weird or funny English accent or something, I don't know, or slang, like I said. So yeah, that was really fun, to be honest. I really liked his way of interpreting words, which is really, it's something else, right? 1970s, time of getting groovy, baby, flower power, and we have this film too, which is very interesting. But about this movie from the 70s, the film premiered in New York City on 19 December 1971 and was released in the United Kingdom on the 13th of January Hopefully that wasn't a Friday because that would be so weird. 1972. The film was met with polarized reviews from critics and was controversial too, due to its depictions of graphic violence. So, like I said, a lot of violence, a lot of criminality or stuff like that. After it was cited as having inspired copycat acts of violence, maybe they used like this certain, you know, violent techniques in other movies, and that's why people didn't really like it. The film was withdrawn from the British cinemas at Kubrick's behest, or I don't know. I'm going to talk about him in just a sec, and was also banned in several other countries. In the years following, the film underwent a critical re-evaluation and gained a cult following. It received several awards and nominations, including 4 nominations at the 44th Academy Awards, including Best Picture. In the British Film Institute's 2012 Sight and Sound polls of the world's greatest films, A Clockwork Orange was ranked 57th in the director's poll and 253rd or 235, 235 and 75. Okay, there we go. In the critics poll in the 2020, the film was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historical, or aesthetically significant. That's a lot of information, a lot of fun facts, I guess. So yeah, there's much like, the story is about this guy, right, who gets captured eventually and gets into some kind of rehabilitation, room, and thanks to Ludwig van Beethoven's music, every time he hears that music, or I don't know, or sees violence, he gets sick, which is kind of interesting. So like for example, there was this one scene where he wanted to commit crime, but there was like Ludwig van Beethoven playing, and he was just like maybe puking or something, maybe like almost puking. So there we go. And also already like I said, he was in the rehabilitation center, and also the same like the criminality that he saw on that television or that theater cinema screen also made him sick eventually. So I mean, there we go. So after that, he didn't really act violently. He didn't really want to fight anymore, which is understandable. I mean, if I would to get sick every time like I would see someone fight or something, I wouldn't like that either. So my guy has the plan to eventually commit death himself. Suicide. He jumps off a window, but he's still alive, which alright. And actually the government, the authorities get blamed because Alex is a pretty nice guy to be honest. Like except his criminality, if you push that aside, he's just a normal guy, I guess. He's like, I don't know, how old could he be in the movie? Like 2019 or something? I don't know. Or yeah, maybe around that. So I mean, he's pretty alright, but he has like weird things going on inside of his head. So there you go. He's inside the hospital because he broke several things, and the authorities get blamed, obviously. And then he kind of gets back into the criminality. Not really. I mean, he's friendly. He has broken several things. He can't stand upright, but for some reason, and that's kind of like the end of the movie, I guess. He not really gets out, but he eventually escapes this weird thing that he has about Ludwig van Beethoven's music and violence. So he gets back to normal. He gets back to his violent roots, I guess. But after that, it's like an entire circle, right? He went from bad to good to getting sick of violence. So good and getting sick is kind of like the same thing here, and gets back to being bad, which but you don't really see that as like violently, or you don't really see him fight. It's more like a thought he has in his head. He said something along the lines of like, I am cured, I'm finally something there, and he's having some in and outs, as he would prefer to say it, with a girl there and people standing next to him, and that's obviously his brain, a dream of his. I don't know, something that he's imagining. So yeah, there we go. A Clockwork Orange. very let's just say very cultural significance, I would say. Yeah, it's one of those movies about, you know, a killer, a serial killer, or a criminal that is actually, you know, quite cool. And Stanley Kubrick, like I said, I wanted to talk about him just for a bit. Stanley Kubrick, you know, he has made many movies like 2001: A Space Odyssey, which ones else, like The Shining too. So these three are like mainly his popular ones, I would say, or you know. And Stanley Kubrick, I would say you could compare him with Edgar Wright nowadays. I don't know, Edgar Wright and Stanley Kubrick. You know, not really. Maybe it's because they're one of my favorite directors, but it's more like, you know, Edgar Wright and Stanley Kubrick are both English. Maybe, I don't know, but I like to, you know, compare these two, and you know they're kind of, you know, I don't know. I just like these two, and for some reason I would like to compare Stanley, or you know, Edgar Wright to Stanley Kubrick. Maybe it's because maybe they're inspired, or you know, Edgar Wright is inspired by Stanley Kubrick, and I don't know. It's something like you have fast motion in some of these films, like from Edgar Wright's films, and also Stanley Kubrick's films. You have, you know, comedic elements too, which is really fun. Enjoyable characters as well. What else? Like, obviously most of those films are mainly English, I would say. So yeah, there we go. Or yeah, you know, The Shining is American, but I don't know. You know, anyway, Stanley Kubrick is a great director. So I would say that, and like the 70s vibe here, the 70s feeling is also pretty cool. Like there's this one scene where here Alexander walks in a store. With music, you know, vinyls, right? And there's this some kind of like what is it, like a synthesizer music? I don't know. And you have like these bright colors, which is really nice. Really 70s. The costume that he's wearing is like a red coat, which is kind of also very 70s. I don't know. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you later. Goodbye, everyone. Or should I say, I'm singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling. I'm happy again. Okay, bye bye, everyone.
I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. What a glorious feel, and I'm happy again.